There we go.
Do we need the boilerplate?
I have it. I'm happy to read it unless you would like to, Marguerite. I know
No,
you're
please,
like
no. Be my
that
guest.
world's fastest boilerplate
She is
reader.
very fast.
Yeah. I have to leave to attend another meeting with the Municipal Technology Committee at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to pass off host duties now so that I don't forget. So Sue, oh, actually, Sue, I'm sorry. I did that prematurely. Can you pass host duties back off to me because I might need to screen share?
How do you do that?
So go to my picture.
Yep.
And the 3 little dots.
On your picture?
Yep.
You gotta scroll over it and
Put
then
your mouse over my picture.
Oh yeah, the 3 little dots in the blue thing.
Yeah.
Upper right-hand corner.
Never noticed.
She may be able to co-host too. And then that way you don't have to worry about switching it over.
Oh, co-hosting is a good idea.
Can we do that instead? Hey,
Yeah, but you
Paul.
still have to, it's
I need
okay.
your help.
we can
So-
talk. Oh,
Just kidding, never mind.
Have a mouse.
I don't know where the mouse is.
Is there a mouse pad on the computer itself?
Oh, it's right here.
So if you just put your arrow on my picture, do you see 2 squares, one that says mute and one with 3 little dots?
I have to pass this back to her.
Hi, May May.
Maybe this is Zach.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. He's kind of a girl boy.
How's that,
Paul, if you
Sarah?
could make us, make me a co-host.
Make her a co-host. Oh, I see it. She wants,
Bring it down to it.
Not to complicate things, but am I going to have to co-host later in the meeting if I want to share?
no,
Because you sent me, I'm
Okay.
hoping that we can get to that
Yes.
item. soon.
Okay. Okay.
thank you.
Am I a co-host now?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I hope so. Paul just did it for me, so.
Okay, well, it looks like I can still screen share. Okay, let's get started. So we'll call this meeting to order at 7:07 of the Southborough Youth Commission Board on Tuesday, February 9th. And I'm going to go ahead and read this boilerplate. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30, section 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or a requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at https://southboroughtown.com/ For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner: https://southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will, there's an error here. We will put on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. I think I get tied up with that typo every time. Okay, so our first item is to approve the minutes from the January 12th meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from the January
Well,
12th.
meeting.
Second,
Okay, Sue Butka,
Aye.
Marguerite Landry,
aye.
Beth Dombacher,
hi.
Leslie Haddon,
aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
and Sarah Mikas.
Aye.
Great. The next item is the director's report. So before, I have too many screens open here. Before going over that, you guys probably noticed that it looked a little bit different this month. Rather, I really was spending far too much time writing the director's report each month because basically there's a child at the door. I'm not available right now.
I'm in the bathroom.
I don't know what to say. Rather than recreating information in another place, what we're going to try to do is take data that already exists or take the information that already exists somewhere else and just provide that for you. So one of the things that I was doing, which is not a good use of my time, is rewriting certain information about our services and describing what a particular service or program entails. So you'll notice that, let me just pull this up here. So the first page is a list of highlights. So the first couple of pages will be highlights from the month, and that is the information that you all are often most interested in. What happened in the past month that is different than what is par for the course. The next couple of pages are service and program definitions. And so this will not change from one month to the next unless we change something about our service. So it gives you sort of an outline of what each of these services is and what is entailed in each of these. And so again, this will be available as part of the director's report each month, just in case there's questions about the service itself. But that's going to be a standing document. The subsequent pages are data about how many people we served in each particular category. And that's just capturing services that we can actually collect statistics on. So there's a number of things that we do that we're not going to collect statistics on. For example, we're engaging in a strategic planning process right now. That's very time consuming in actuality, but we're not able, there's no statistics that go along with that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then the last page is just an update on where the current operating budget figures stand, as well as where the donation account balance stands. So moving forward, we're trying really hard to work with Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission to make sure our figures are the same for where the grant balances stand, but that's going to be part of the Friends report when we get to that part of the agenda. So, so because I have to leave at 8, and because I'm referencing, I think it's fine for us to go out of order. Leslie, is it okay if I go ahead and jump to that part of the agenda?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm going to screen share. Let me just open this really quick.
So there's two reports there. You want to go to the second sheet? That's just a short report with a summary of the balances.
So I've got sheet 1, and then I've got grant balances 2/5/21.
Yep. This,
Right.
yep.
Okay. Can you all see that?
Uh-huh. Yes.
All right, go ahead, Leslie.
Okay, so this is a summary of where we stood at the end of last week per the records that Sarah and Christina had put together of each of the buckets that they're tracking with respect to the grants that have come in. And the reason I did it in this format instead of the format that Sarah's been presenting in is we're in the process of one, Sarah giving me the reporting duties, and I'm going to be working with Kathy Cook. And there's some timing differences going on at the moment, just because Kathy's got things classified differently than Sarah and Christina. So I took just the snapshot of where we stood as of Friday in each of these accounts and just summarized. So as you can see, if you look at the emergency fund, we have a balance of $5,863 as of Friday. And I don't know if any further checks have been written on that account since then. But Sarah had stated that we're waiting on a check from for $7,500 from the trust fund committee, which has been earmarked for that account. I guess we're not waiting, it's been received. And as soon as it's deposited, that will be reflected in that balance as well. So that'll be like 13,000 that we have remaining for this fiscal year in the emergency fund, which is good because that those expenditures are going out every week. So just to back up a little bit, so the way this is going to work going forward, because it was a lot of work for Sarah to stay on top of all this and to report on this and to make it part of her director's report. So I offered to help, but Kathy Cook is the accountant for Friends. So she's the one that writes all the checks and accounts for everything on her end, and then she files the tax return. So because she's already doing this, it makes sense for her to be involved. So monthly, she's going to feed me her numbers, and I will reconcile that with the numbers that I get from Sarah and Christina. And Christina is preparing a weekly update of all the expenditures and any money that's come in, any donations or any grant money that's coming in. So all of that, we're going to be like much more better able to capture where we are on all of this. Not to say that we weren't before. I mean, Sarah did an awesome job, but Sarah was mainly tracking just the grants, and my job will be to look at the total funds available, both restricted and unrestricted. So that's kind of what I have here. And then I just footnoted a couple things here. One was the $7,500 that's going to be coming in from the trust fund. This part, Sarah, you might feel free to jump in. The holiday giving number of $3,596 reflects $3,500 of money that came in from the 100 Women group. You guys might recall that the 100 Women group donated. Well, there's more than 100 women, but each of the women in the group donated $100. And so the total was 12,000, let's see, 3,596. The 3,500 plus 92.98 was the total that we received after the PayPal fees, or the whatever the fund they used for it. I guess it was PayPal, but at any rate, so that was like 12,798, I think. And 3,500 of that was earmarked for the holiday giving
Can I just
program.
make a correction, actually?
Yeah, go ahead. That's
So
the part I'm a little fuzzy on.
Sure. The remaining balance of the holiday giving, the $3,500, does not include anything from 100 Women. That $3,500 is from the Southborough Community Fund that they had given, that we didn't end up needing to use because 100 Women nominated us and selected us as a recipient. So before 100 Women had given us any money, the community fund had given us $5,000 towards the holiday giving program. And so we didn't end up needing any of what the community fund gave us. So they gave us permission to take 1,500 of that 5,000 and put it towards the strategic planner. And then the remaining 3,500 from the Southborough Community Fund is part of that balance that remains for holiday giving. So it's very confusing. There's lots of moving parts, but basically the 3,500 that remains, that's 9,630 is what's left from private donations that came in this year, and 3,500 is from the community fund that's earmarked. And then you have listed here too, Leslie, the $9,298. That is all 100 Women's remaining donation.
Correct. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and Sarah and I are going to be working more closely over the next couple weeks just to fine tune this and kind of talk about what she wants to see in the report going forward. So it won't necessarily look like this. This is just kind of a quick snapshot of where we stand, or we stood on Friday. And then, so again, this strategic planner, we have advanced the first payment, so that that's half of what we received from Southborough Community Fund, the 10,500. And so, yeah, so basically the total restricted funds that we have set aside are 41,292. And then I basically just backed into the total unrestricted funds based on Kathy's balance of 62,363. There any questions on this?
I'm glad you're doing it. It's not quite a question, but
Thank you.
thank you.
Do you
I do-
really have to identify like why, who the leftover money, as we're just talking about the holiday giving or any of the buckets, as you call them? Is it really important to identify where the leftover money initiated from?
Only in the case where it comes from the community fund, because we have to report on it.
I see. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, they are very flexible and we really appreciate that, but we want to be sure that we report on and give them updated information as to what's left. Typically we would try to spend down completely what they've given us in a grant cycle by the time that the report is due, but that's the part that they've been really flexible on. There's been times where we haven't been able to spend the entire thing down. So, and then I think, we're trying to tease out the 100 Women donation also, even though there's, to my knowledge, there's not a required report. We like to let people, organizations that have awarded us money, let them know exactly how that money has been spent. So, so just in those cases, the other ones are, more flexible.
Yeah, and we chatted about that in our friends meeting because the purpose of the 100 Women donation was twofold. It was not only to support the holiday giving program, but it was also to help support Youth and Family Services or Southborough Youth Commission throughout the year to provide the community with mental health services and resources. And it was very general as to what the nature of that could be. So, but we do want to at least keep track of how that money is spent so that so that we can account for it and report back to them.
I think this accounting is lovely. I'm really interested to see where things have come from and where they've gone to, and I think it's a really, thank you
Ooh,
for doing it.
Are you? Because it's, there's so many pieces and moving parts.
Yeah,
and-
well, the difference is that I had actually prepared a report that reflected all the money coming in and then all the money going out. But
Mhm.
because it was kind of last minute, everything coming together, there was some discrepancies between Kathy's numbers and ours. And I thought this would be a little clearer to people rather than try to confuse you with, but we're very close. We'll get it
Yes.
down.
And I
Couple
like
days.
the way that you described it, Leslie. It's a matter of classifying things
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
I'm gonna stop sharing if that's okay.
Thank you for
Before I
doing
do
that,
I-
Sarah.
No problem. And I didn't mean to intend to skip over the director's report. Does anybody have any questions on that? Any of the January highlights that you want me to review?
No, and I support doing the director's report in such a way that you're not spending 4 or 5 hours of your precious time doing it every month for us.
Thank you. This actually worked out great because I just literally cut and pasted tables
No,
from.
I think
Great.
I appreciate the new format and think
yeah.
it's going to be very effective. I don't know, is there anything, I know that we had found it helpful for you to highlight a few of the highlights. Are there, I mean, obviously, I'm very curious about the interface program and
Yeah.
how that's going.
Yep.
And any budget discussions, which I'm sure are fun
Yep.
too, but
Sure. And in fact, I think that's on our agenda is to go
yeah, go through
over.
the
Yeah,
budget. Yeah.
that's next. But I will highlight the highlights, as you say. So yeah, I would say the two biggest things in January were that we started working with Ann Budner, who's a strategic planning consultant. It was a lot of legwork leading up to our first meeting with the strategic planning committee, which was yesterday. But Megan, Shannon, and I had a number of meetings with Ann to sort of establish some foundations for the work that we're doing with the whole committee. I outlined for you all who's on the committee. It's a challenge because we're trying to find various people from different sectors of the community that can wear different hats and have multiple perspectives to bring to the table. It can't, the goal is to have about 8 to 10 people. So how can you have as many perspectives as possible? So Dr. Medina is a great example because he's a physician, he's a consulting physician for the district. He's also a member of our coalition. He is also one of the the co-founders of Southborough Neighbors for Peace. He's a Southborough resident and a father, so he wears many different hats when he comes to the table, which is really helpful. So we did a lot of work with Ann, just us as staff members, and basically that work entailed, kind of trying to fine-tune our guiding principles, which are basically our mission, our values, and our vision for the department. And that was all in draft form. So the goal was to have a draft ready to bring to the committee for them to take a look at and share their perspective. Sue is also on the committee, so she'll be there as the perspective of the board. So if you all, there is going to come a point where we take a break from having these strategic planning committee meetings and we're conducting a needs assessment. We will be looking for volunteers to help us with running focus groups or conducting interviews. So we're collecting quantitative data as well as qualitative data as part of this assessment. And so things have kind of, we did a lot of work in the month of January with just our staff and Ann, and now we're really kind of kicking off with the committee starting in February. Are there any questions about that?
Maybe you said this, but is this a strategic plan that will last for about 10 years, do you think?
So Anne has worked with a number of other youth and family service departments, and I have seen the product of their work together. And to date, it looks like I think it depends on what the goals are. It definitely depends on what the goals are, but Westboro Youth and Family worked with Anne in 2019, and a lot of their goals were more in line with a 5-year plan. What I am hoping to get out of this experience too is from beginning to end the process, so that, you know, while it's been wonderful working with Anne, it's possible that we could do this process on our own on a regular basis. You know, not every year, but, you know, every 5 to 10 years, we could engage in this process. So it depends on what goals we come up with.
You know what I didn't ask her in our meeting? How did she feel we looked so far in comparison to other towns? Would she not mention that, or
Well, she called me right after the meeting was over and told me she thought it went great.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yes.
that's good.
Yes. She thought it was very productive and stayed on task. And it's hard to know because, you know, I have nothing to compare it to either. I have never engaged in this process before. So the other major thing that happened in January is we started a contract with Interface Referral Services. Now, just as a reminder, both Interface and the Strategic Planner are made possible because of grants we received from the Southborough Community Fund. So Interface, for the month of January, it was actually rather quiet. There was a lot of legwork going on behind the scenes. So again, the more kind of exciting part is starting in February. But there was a lot of collection of information about providers that serve Southborough residents. So we had to do a lot of legwork reaching out to school adjustment counselors and churches and other town departments and people that might have thoughts on who should be on this provider list, who are the go-to providers for Southborough residents. So we did a lot of collection of that information. We received a lot of marketing materials from Interface. We have our own community page on Interface's website now. So there's a lot of the logistical things. And then I think the sort of culminating event was we had a kickoff event for community stakeholders. So this was not for the general public, but rather, you know, educating teachers and principals and members of the fire and police department on what is Interface and how is it used. And so we had that event at the end of January so that all of those people who were in attendance can then be ambassadors back into the community to share the information with residents about the service and fully understand, you know, what Interface does, what they don't do, and how residents can access that information. And we have Tanya Snyder, who is the kind of our point person at Interface, coming on Coffee Talk next Tuesday to share what Interface is, and that's geared more towards the general public.
How
So
did that
that's
kickoff event go, and was it well received?
Yeah, I mean, Shannon, you were there. I think we had probably like 20 to 25 people.
Oh,
It's hard to
that's
tell.
great.
When everybody's
Oh,
on
right.
Zoom, everybody's so tiny. But it was more of a presentation style. So Tanya gave a presentation. It was very thorough. I mean, she does this a ton. So she, you know, has already figured out what are the frequently asked questions. And so at the end, nobody really had any additional questions except for one person. So it was, I think it was very informative and well received, and we're very excited about it because it means, that we can really feel like we have an answer for someone when we can't possibly see anybody else. We don't have to just say, I'm sorry, or like really bend over backwards to try to make it work. Now we have a response that's going to be helpful and really will help us prioritize our services for people who really have very limited options.
That's great, Sarah. I was wondering what kind of, I guess you call them analytics, or what kind of tracking there is for how many calls of what type, and how, so we see how well it's and how often it's used.
Sure. So they will give us a report twice a year to let us know. And I actually have reports from other communities. I'm not allowed to share that. But I do have usage information from other communities, and they break it down by gender identity. They break it down by age. They break it down by the specific need that the person is asking for. There's a lot of different demographics, as well as number of phone calls, number of repeat phone calls. So the way Interface works is that they'll set you up with a match based off of your search criteria, and then they'll follow up with you to find out how it's going. And if the person is not happy with the match they received, then Interface remains involved and continues to try to search for someone that is a good provider, a good match for them. So they keep track of, how many engagements they've had with a particular person, where the referral came from. So if it was a school, a church, if it was us. So it's quite comprehensive.
Do they track by talking to the providers or just to the people who are using the service?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do they talk to the providers, or do they just talk to the clients who are using the service?
When they're writing the report?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that it's just with the
Just
clients.
the client. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Although I think that they, in rare cases will try, it's not that they don't build relationships with providers. I think in some cases, a resident may really need help with actually making that first appointment. And so they will step in and do that. And so in that case, they have to have interaction with the providers. So it's a team approach. It's not like, here's your names and good luck. So there is interaction there.
So Sarah, I was thinking about Interface, and when I read about it on my Southborough and how it's getting out into the community, and and I thought all about how much this has been on your mind ever since you've taken this position, and how you and Megan were trying to create your own referral list, and it was just totally impossible to do it. And so I just want to say thank you for staying on this and really getting something that the whole town will completely benefit from. Like it's like you saw the need right away, and you've stayed at it until you finally found, something that will work for many, many people. And that's really important for everyone in town.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Great. I think finding a practitioner is the #1 obstacle for getting mental health services or any kind of support services. So if we can jump this hurdle efficiently and effectively, I think that it will open up a lot of opportunities for community people to get help. So
it's amazing that one, I mean, that is like the very first step in the process. And it's so complex. It's so complex because any any single individual has between 7 to 10 variables that they're looking for. The gender of the therapist, the location, the type of therapy, the time of day, the day of the week, and so it's really quite complicated. And then on top of that, all of the information that's out there, 8 times out of 10, it's not up to date. And so it's not reliable information.
Yeah.
And so you have to make lots of phone calls. And, so we have, firsthand knowledge that our process was not working. And so having a whole team of people to be able to do this is really great. We're thrilled.
So do they look up insurance policies and that stuff too?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that's so great.
Yeah. They'll also help with different types of therapy, so family therapy or substance abuse treatment, eating disorders. If you need a neuropsych evaluation, they can help with that. So, yeah. So thank you. That's great
Awesome.
feedback.
It's huge.
We're thrilled also. And just looking at what else is on the, I'd like to, if it's okay, just move on the agenda. I have to leave in about 20 minutes, so I want to make sure that we talk about the budget, which is also on the director's report, but also on the agenda. Is that okay with everybody?
Sure.
Yes.
All right. So I'm trying to remember where things stood the last time I talked with you all. I think it was that the town finance team had asked every department head to engage in an exercise to adjust our budget request to reflect a 2% tax increase for the town and a 5% tax increase for the town. So we did that, but we kind of let them know that this is what it would mean for us. It would basically mean that we wouldn't be able to have a subsequent contract with Interface. And all that being said, the town has been asking us to see if we can get a 6-month contract with Interface as our second year instead of a 12-month contract, so that we can get back in line with the fiscal year. Does that all ring a bell to everybody? Yes. Okay. So a 6-month contract versus a 12-month contract naturally cuts our budget request in half, from 20,000 to 10,000. And as I think also mentioned to you that I had received an email from the superintendent asking to meet with me about Interface and FY22. So I did have that meeting, and it was not, no decisions were made in that meeting, but they were collecting information from me, and I could see wheels turning. They wanted to know more. They wanted to know more about what it would cost them if if it was a school-only contract. They wanted to know more about what it cost per referral. So they were just collecting a lot of data from me to sort of make a decision about whether or not they felt it was a service that they could share the cost of with us. So again, nothing has been decided as of now, but what I have found out is Interface will let us do a 6-month contract. The 6-month contract is based off of usage of year 1. We don't have that data yet. So the most a 6-month contract would cost is $10,000. So we should budget for $10,000 for the maximum amount, even though it probably won't be that much. And we have a few different options for paying for this 6-month contract. So nothing has been determined as of yet, but I have, I just about a half an hour ago received another email from the superintendent to discuss this further. So they've had some time to think about it, and so we have to figure out whether, what we're going to do for FY '22. So,
You mentioned a school-only contract. Would that mean all referrals would have to come from the schools?
yeah, so I don't want that to throw you off. The reason why they wanted to know that, so Interface offers two types of contracts. You can do a school-only contract, which would mean that members of, so school-age children could get referral support through Interface. So some communities choose to do that, and that's a different price than the other type of contract, which is a school and community contract. So it's the entire community, not just schools, which is what we have.
Sarah, didn't you say that Northborough has Interface? So if a student at Algonquin needs Interface, if they come from Northborough, they can use it, but if they come from Southborough, it's not available to them, although it would be now.
That's right.
So that's a big thing.
Yes, now it's equitable for all students.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just to finish answering your question, Leslie, that so part of their decision making, they wanted to know what a school-only contract would have cost them at a 6-month contract, because that was helping them inform their decision about what their piece of the pie should
Okay.
be
That's what I
if they
thought.
were to move forward with paying for it half.
I see.
So I should
Okay.
know more
Yeah.
information
That's great.
sooner than later.
And then for fiscal year 2023, it's going to be the whole entire, I mean, however it gets paid for, it'll be a 12-month contract.
That's right, because it will start July 1st.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So that's where I have to, get back to the town finance team to let them know, but they knew that kind of things were up in the air, and they were okay with that for right now and waiting for more information. And I know there's lots of other conversations going on about other parts of the town budget. So so are there any questions about that before moving on?
I guess, did Interface give you an idea what the difference in the school only versus the school only plus community is? Is it like 50-50 or?
Yeah, so it was not a straightforward answer, but basically, again, because it's based off of usage and the size of the district, but the most, is it the most or the least, a 6-month only contract that was school only would cost is $5,000. So that's what they could tell me. The least it would cost is this.
Okay. All right.
And school's in
go
session for
ahead.
3 months out of the year too. That's the other part of it.
What was that?
School isn't in session for 3 months out of the year. School's not in session.
Yeah, they
I
do
think
have.
it still access it though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and they do have quite a few students who attend summer school and who receive summer services. So, so certainly, they could continue to utilize that.
And just to clarify, I think you said it's school age children, but that doesn't mean they'd have to get the referral specifically through school.
If it's a school only contract,
Right.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because that's not the type of
All right,
contract
okay,
we have.
all right.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Just for-
So anybody who lives in town can use it.
Okay.
It seems
regardless
like
of-
the most bang for the buck would just be buying the full service contract for everybody in town.
Yeah, I know, just as an example, Holliston has school-only contracts and they list the specific schools that have the contract. So it's not even all schools, it's the middle school and the high school. So I think it depends on whose budget it's coming out of. And I'm sure, you know, there's some specific parameters around who can use that, but, you know,
Bless you. I think that, and they don't have a regional program, right? They're just Hollis.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I grew
I
up
don't
there,
think
unless
so.
it's changed. So I,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so donation account expenditure approval, that is just that's kind of on the agenda every month. We don't have anything that we're asking for your approval on tonight, so we can move on from that. The Friends report, Leslie, I know you already covered the grant balances. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
We met since the last board meeting. Sarah and Lauren were in attendance, and Sue as well. We spoke briefly. We're going to be meeting in a couple weeks to talk more about some fundraising ideas that we could do in the short term while things aren't really opened up. I mean, it's kind of silly to plan for a big event at this point. But we talked about maybe doing something more with the Facebook page, potentially soliciting money for the scholarship. And during the meeting, we also spoke about the fact that everybody was in favor of continuing the scholarship, since that money is coming from the Friends group, and that they'd like to participate in choosing the scholarship winner this year, once we receive the applications. And Kathy Cook, who's a very busy woman, is in charge of updating, or she and her husband are in charge of updating the website. So they are starting that process. And we are also waiting on a donation button for the Friends Facebook page, which, Lauren, I haven't checked it since our meeting. I don't know if anything's changed on that.
They're working on it today, in fact.
Oh, great. Because I guess we got the approval, but it hasn't actually been updated yet, or?
They were waiting. They had to send in a document this weekend
Oh, okay.
in order to finalize the process.
I think Kathy said it's very close, Lauren, right? I think.
She did.
Yeah, we're just,
Clicking a button would be so complicated.
yeah, we're just, for those of you who are not aware, we're just trying to update the Facebook page so that it's very easy to donate. So instead of it saying, I guess it says shop now, it'll just say donate now or donate here.
I saw that today. You came up in my feed today. And so I clicked on it and it did say shop now. And I was like, ooh, what are they selling?
Nothing.
So if any of you have any fundraising ideas, feel free to send them my way and I can bring them up at the next meeting.
Maybe you could get vendors to sell through your Facebook. Like maybe some local artists could donate a couple of pieces or something. Yeah, just.
Yeah.
You could have an online auction. I know a lot of organizations are doing that, which makes it easier actually, because you just list the items on your website and people put bids in, and it's pretty easy to do. And maybe we could make it in the spring or Mental Health Awareness Month, virtual. We can incorporate that into it. So
Yeah, I like that idea. We also did talk about connecting with Rotary again, because last year they did that campaign for us online, but I don't know where they stand with their food trucks for the spring or summer. And last year they had fully intended to raise money for us at their food trucks. So most likely we're going to be reaching out to them and find out if they have any creative ideas or anything upcoming that they could help us with.
Have you guys heard of Amazon Smile? Are we on Amazon Smile? Because you can have stuff donated, a certain percentage. If
We are
you,
not on Amazon Smile. It's something that would be very easy to do. I think I could
What
reach
were
out.
you gonna say, Sarah?
I have to leave.
Oh,
Sorry.
Thank you, Sarah.
Shannon, I know you were gonna just mention a couple of things, and I think we've actually covered everything up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the couple of things. So I'm gonna excuse myself. I'll let you guys know how this meeting goes. They're basically trying to help us update our IT needs. So
that sounds
that's
like
what
a
I'm-
fun meeting.
Yes,
Enjoy that.
actually, I'm actually very excited. So
Yeah.
if you need an intern, Sarah, Gio's available.
I
There you
know.
go.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye,
Thank you.
Sarah.
Have a good
Thank you.
meeting.
Okay, those are all great ideas. Thank you very much. We'll follow up on that.
I can't wait till we can see each other and have like some evening event.
It's so weird. I'm just happy to see people's faces.
I know.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Next year.
Yeah, next year. I know. Who's up next? Shannon?
I guess so. I don't have the agenda in front of me, so I don't want to jump ahead, but
Yeah, are you done, Leslie?
I am done. Thank
Okay.
you.
okay. So one of the things was the Lori Sugarman Whittier Wellness Award, and if we wanted to do that again this year, and just moving forward with that. So I just wanted to put that out there. We didn't talk about that yet, right?
No, that's the
The
one.
years are starting to blend together now.
I
so-
know, Shannon, that's what we just chose for fiscal or for May of
2020.
2020.
Okay,
Okay,
that's why. So now,
that's why it's
I'm like, we already had this
particularly
conversation.
blurring together now.
Really dumb. Right, so I guess now we need to talk about 2021, and if you guys want to do that, and if we do, just moving forward with it.
Is that a friends thing that needs to be? No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Shannon, the first time we gave it, how did you solicit nominations for that? Do you recall? It wasn't just us, in other words. I think they contacted
Exactly.
the schools and
Yeah, yeah,
opened it up to the community. I
Yeah.
like that idea.
sure. Yep. So if you guys want, then I'll bring that back to Sarah to say that we do want to move forward with nominating someone again this year and giving that out. And I'll find out what the avenues were that we did that in
Shannon, when is that? What month is that again?
May.
Okay.
So that went with Celebrate Wellness. That was
Mhm.
the intention. We were going to
Gotcha.
celebrate a person, and and then the world had other plans for us. So okay, well then we'll get going with that. And then the other piece was for our next two meetings. So we have the speaker series coming up, and we have a speaker every month. And in fact, in March, we have two speakers. But for the next two meetings, the speakers are falling on the same night as this board meeting. So we wanted to see how you guys felt about that, that if you wanted to change the time of the meeting, the date of the meeting, so that you can attend those, or if you're cool with just keeping it as it is. We don't have to come up with another date, but we wanted to see how you guys felt about that.
I'm fine with migrating the date of the meeting. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's not
agree.
like- it's not like I'm hugely busy.
I think we should,
I'd
'cause-
rather attend the speaker series, so, and then have the meeting another night.
right.
That sounds great.
I'd like
I
the
agree.
option of attending also, and I would imagine you and Sarah would too, so.
Sure. Yep. I don't know if that's something you need to vote on or not.
Yeah, to move a meeting, I think. We'll have to-
Yeah, I moved to change the date of that meeting. What's the date again? I'm so sorry.
So that will be for the March meeting and for the April meeting.
for the March meeting and the April meeting. I moved to change the date of those two meetings.
Okay, second.
Subucca, aye.
I'll go. Do you want me to go around? Sue Bucka,
Aye.
Beth Dumbacher,
Hi.
Leslie Haddon,
Aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
and my friend Marguerite Landry.
Aye.
All
Katie.
ayes. All right.
Did you ask yourself?
Oh, Sarah Micus, aye.
She
Aye,
knew. Is one of those speakers Katie Covino?
No. Do you know Katie?
Yes, I
Oh,
taught
who's-
at Pittsburgh State, and that's
Ah,
but I
No.
don't know her directly, but she brought her manuscript through Judy Buds, and I looked at it and I thought, this is done, man. This is like perfect.
we're
It's
good
so-
friends.
Oh,
We're
that's
friends.
very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her to go to, actually put it in Ryan's ear to get her to go to the library.
Yeah, she could do a coffee talk too.
They did,
Oh, she did. Oh, okay.
they
My bad.
did. Well, it wasn't her, it was her co-author
Yes.
and the illustrator, who was a 12-year-old girl.
I know, isn't that amazing?
Oh, my goodness.
You know what we're talking about? There's a woman who was in the education department, and she and another writer who's done a lot of writing on children and trauma, I think it is, or what is her children and anger, right? And so they wanted to put a book for tweens 8 to 11 that would be about being in a pandemic, basically. And they wrote it in the most charming way because it sounds just like a kid. It's full of like fart jokes and stuff like that. And it's something that a parent would cringe, but a child would adore. And it has activities. And I guess they just, NPR picked it up. They really
Yeah.
liked it. So it's getting like
Great.
national press. And she said, I mean, who expected it? You know, it was just an idea anyway. So I think she lives in your town. Am I right?
Does,
Yeah,
yep, that's
yeah,
how we
yeah.
know each other.
Yeah,
Yep.
she seemed really nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, so the next speaker is going to be, Devorah Heitner is coming. And that is on, well, I can quickly tell you. Hang on a second. Christina, email. So 3/9 at 7 p.m. we'll have Devorah coming. On 3:30, Voices Against Violence is going to be doing media literacy with us. And then John Madelman on April 13th, 7 p.m. will be doing The Secret Lives of Teens and Tweens.
Oh,
Great.
Fertile ground.
Yeah, I will let Sarah know that you guys are on board with changing the date. So we'll send an email around to see what the best date is and
Sounds good.
That's great.
what.
Right, I no longer have the agenda in front of me. Can someone?
yeah, I can
Uh,
help. I can help you
I
out.
have it. I think we're at any other business which shall properly come before the board.
So official.
Anybody have anything?
I do not.
Nope.
Everything's been covered. The next is to move to adjourn.
Yes.
I move to adjourn.
Second it.
Third,
This is gonna be a dumb question, but when we finish, do I have to do anything because I'm hosting now? I don't just have to can I just shut the laptop?
I
Oh, do
think
we have to- so
you
do
just
we
stop
have to- do we have
recording.
to Roll call vote to adjourn.
I don't know. Do you? We can do that. All
Well, we
right.
can certainly do that.
Every single month we say, do we have to vote on ending? We
I
say
know.
that every
All
time.
right.
No, you have to do this until next month.
Okay.
All right, Sarah, you call us off again.
Okay. Move to adjourn. Sue Bucka,
Aye.
Beth Dumbacher,
Hi.
Leslie Haddon,
Aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
Margaret Landry,
Aye.
Sarah Micus. Aye. All right, all approved. Meeting adjourned at 8:04. Sue, you might need to turn off the recording.
How do I do that?
There's a button at the bottom that says record, but I don't know if we can stop that or,
Yeah, I think Sue has to do it.
I have to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a round button on the bottom.
Oh, I
And
see it, yeah.
it's still saying recording on my computer,
I
so.
don't see that at all.
Did you put your cursor at the bottom
Yes,
and you don't get, it says
Ah.
share screen and then to the right of that is record?
I see it. Thank you.
Uh-huh, just tap that and then it's still pulsating.
It's blinking.
Uh-huh. Hit it really hard.
Trying to do stop recording.
You
Yep.
might-
Did I do it?
No,
Nope, it's still,
It's still recording.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Imagine if you